The Life of a Kite, Afghanistan. Upon choosing this subject, I believed that kite fighting was a recreational activity for all ages. After conducting my research and reading the story, I decided that kite fighting is more than just a game. It's a large competition for Afghan boys and men in which they fight for a great victory and are cheered on by their family and friends. Kite fighting and making is much more complex than expected. In Afghan culture, kites are specifically made or bought for kite fighting. The main goal is to slice opponent's kite strings and cause the kite to break and spiral to the ground. Surprisingly, many things are taken into consideration when choosing a kite. The most important factors are the flexibility of the kite's frame, the strength of the glue, and the quality of the string. Although string is now being manufactured specifically for kite fighting, people often make their own string by crushing up the glass into a dust and mixing it with the glue and coating the string thickly. Kite fighting runs deep in Afghan culture. It has been a major part for over 100 years. It's typically treated as a large sporting event held on Fridays. However, once the Taliban came into control, the art was forbidden and children were beaten, and their kites were torn to pieces. Kite makers were even imprisoned for disobeying. Although many people attempt to make kites, there are few considered famous for this art. However, one, Noor Agat, is well known throughout the world for his great masterpieces. He is a 53-year-old man who learned this art from his father. He was the man who created over hundreds of kites for the movie Kite Runner. He sells kites for about $1, while most in the country are only worth 30 cents. His talent allows him to make up to 40 kites a day. My claim was highly influenced by the book. Once readers learn that Amir's thirst for victory will win his admiration and respect of others in the community, especially Baba. It becomes clear that such an interesting and important sport will not come to an end, and Afghan generations will carry on this tradition.
Good job, good job.
Harmeet Karzai, who is the head of state and the commander-in-chief of the military forces like that of the American government. And like the American government, there are 3 branches that they have put in to help with checks and balances to eliminate power issues with the judiciary, executive, and the legislative. Women, however, are guaranteed a spot in the Afghanistan government to help with equality rights. The Afghanistan government is filled with corruption, as might claim. The Islamic Republic, representing the people of Afghanistan, is filled with corrupt warlords who rig elections, demolishing the fair and legal representation of its constituents. Found in New York Times, in fact, of the 11 campaigns in the April 5th presidential election, 6 include at least one candidate of the ticket who is widely viewed as a warlord with past and policies directly at odds with Western attempts to improve human rights here. The democratic process, as I mentioned, their constitution was made in 2002 in an emergency state, and they held their first democratic election in 2004 where the president was elected. The House the Congress, I should say, is formed bicameral legislature that, as the American government, with a House of the People and a House of the Elders. Thank you. However, back to the corruption, when a person gains too much power, the president or House can appoint somebody to a certain position, and often these appointments are to a lower spot where the person will not have as much power. Therefore, the appointments are not wanted, but in their country, they cannot deny an appointment which they are said to go to a position. So I redefined the claim once reading the book. The Afghanistan government is filled with corruption and warlords who will utilize violence to acquire the power that they so desire, which destroys what the elders have tried to accomplish for them. And as over the past centuries, the elders have tried to create the fair and legal representation of the constituents for the people, but as the violence, as said in the book, as Baba, the gossiping girls, had taken over and used forces such as military to acquire the positions that they so desire. And so the background music that you're listening to right now is the national anthem for Afghanistan, which it hits on the points of freedom, God. It speaks of a united people. As their national anthem says, the fortress of Islam, the heart of Asia, forever free, the soil of the Arvans, birthplace of great heroes of God, fellow traveler of the warriors of the men of God. God is great, God is great, God is great. Arrow of his faith to the arena of jihad, removing the shackles of suppression. the nation of freedom, Afghanistan breaks the chains of oppression for the people. God is great, God is great, God is great. Let the lines of the Quran be our order, let the banner of faith be on our roof. With the echoes and voices going together, let national unity be what we strive for. God is great, God is great, God is great. Live happy, live free, live and prosper on homeland in the light of God's law. Lift the torch of freedom high, become a leader for the people that are oppressed. Therefore, as the Islamic government strives to meet that which is in their national anthem, they still have work to do to eliminate the corruption and be a leader in the world today.